everybody. My name is Joanne Sheehan, and I work on the Sustainability, Renewable Energy and Ag Tech team in Enterprise Ireland. I would just like to welcome everyone. This is the 7th webinar in our Green Transition series. All the recordings from the previous 6 webinars covering topics including B Corp, ESG and sustainability reporting, green financing and the SME Climate Hub are available on our website. And today's webinar is being recorded and will also be put up on our website pretty quickly after this. There will be space for a Q&A towards the end of the webinar today, and you can put questions in the chat and we'll pick them up. Today's webinar will focus on skills specifically, and specifically the skills support required for businesses who want to develop their operational and strategic sustainability. But before we kick off and before I introduce our speakers, I want to highlight Enterprise Ireland's upcoming Sustainability Kickstarter workshops. So these are starting on Friday, the 27th of October, and will be running every second week up until the end of the year. The Kickstarters are free and have been developed to help companies understand the importance of sustainability and ESG to their businesses. The Sustainability Kickstarters are not webinars, they're workshops, and they've been designed with a really specific outcome in mind, that every participant will walk away with a sustainability action plan relative to their business at the end. So as a call to action at the end of today's webinar, I urge anyone listening who's an Enterprise Ireland or local enterprise office client to sign up to a Kickstarter. I'll talk about the Kickstarters again at the end, but now let me introduce our speakers and go through the agenda for today. So we have speakers from the Irish University Association's Micro-Credentials for Sustainability programme. And first up, we have Julia O'Connor, who's the project lead for the Irish Universities Association, Dr. Emma Francis, who's the Senior Project Officer for Microcred and for IUA also, and Janice Mulvaney Glennon, who is Micro-Credentials Project Lead for UCG. We also have people from SkillNet Ireland's Climate Ready Academy, Michelle Thompson, who is the Strategic Partnership Manager for SkillNet Ireland, and Maria Kelly, who is the Head of Policy and Stakeholder Engagement at 2050 Partners. So just to go through our speakers today, Emma is the Senior Project Officer for Microcreds at the IUA, and Microcreds is a 4-year initiative receiving €12.3 million in funding from the HEA's Human Capital Initiative Pillar 3. She has a specific focus on skills gap and enterprise engagement, leading on the development of Microcreds Innovate, a sustainable model for university enterprise collaboration for micro-credentials. She also coordinates the Erasmus Plus MicroNet project, a transnational European peer learning network for enhancing micro-credentials development and awareness. Jules leads the Microcreds project at the IUA and works collaboratively with 7 partner universities to develop micro-credentials as a key part of lifelong learning in Ireland. Prior to joining the IUA, Jules worked in the education sector in a variety of roles, including strategic planning, operations, marketing, stakeholder engagement, and business development. She's worked across undergrad, postgrad, and professional education at institutions including Imperial College London, the Royal College of Physicians London, and the Royal Pharmaceutical Society. And Jules holds an MBA from Trinity College Dublin. Janice is a learning and development and design specialist with over 22 years experience of designing, developing and delivering work-based learning. She specializes in work-based learning design for busy professionals, a lot of people on this call, and has expertise in e-learning, building and design. She is currently the project lead for developing micro-credentials at UCG, my alma mater, and this innovative national project where she brings her expertise in adult learning theory, project management, digitally enhanced learning and collaboration with partners and stakeholders. And then we have Michelle Thompson. Michelle currently leads the strategic partnership at SkillNet Ireland, the workforce development agency of the Government of Ireland. She works alongside Enterprise Ireland, the Irish Development Agency and other state agencies to create a joined up approach supporting businesses with skills needed to continue to grow the economy, prosperity of Ireland. Michelle is passionate about business and believes a deep understanding of your customer is key to success. Specializing in strategy, organizational design, business development, and project management, Michelle has a proven track record in strategic business growth, and she holds a BA from UCD and has qualifications in sales, marketing, PR, and is also an accredited financial advisor. And finally, Maria. Maria is head of policy and stakeholder relations with 2050 Partners, the delivery partner of the SkillNet Climate Ready Academy. She has over 20 years experience working in senior management roles across various organizations, and Maria's background in business and strategy development, advocacy and communications. And she is passionate about driving real and meaningful change in the area of sustainability and ESG. Maria has served on a number of boards, including Chambers Ireland, the Hunt Museum in Limerick, the Limerick Market Trustees, and the Limerick City Development Board. And she has an MBS in International Entrepreneurship and an MA in International Studies from UL, as well as a certificate in Business and Climate Change from Cambridge University. So I suppose just to give some context around today, there is a skills gap and an urgent need for green talent to support the transition to a low carbon economy. And this is becoming a real issue for businesses who need to meet demands relating to sustainability from suppliers, customers, as well as regulatory requirements and issues relating to staff retention and attracting the best people. However, and I always say this with my engagement with Enterprise Ireland client companies around sustainability, engaging with people within your organization who are interested, passionate, and want to learn more about sustainability is the first step. And offering training programs to upskill people in sustainability is an essential part of embedding sustainability and ESG across any organization. So with that, I'll pass over to our first speaker who kick us off today.
Thank you so much, Joanne. I'll just bring our slides up. Hopefully that should be presenting now. So we're delighted to be here to talk to you about micro-credentials and how they can be of benefit to those working in the green skills area. I'm going to give you an overview of microcreds, then I'll hand over to my colleague Emma, who'll talk about the work that we're doing with Enterprise. And then our colleague Janice from the University of Galway will give an overview of the work that they're doing there. So this initiative was set up a few years ago and led by the Irish Universities Association. And our aim was to look at lifelong learning and how the development of micro-credentials could be beneficial across universities for the benefit of employers and also learners. So to give you an overview of what micro-credentials are, so we have a national framework that recognises the variances across different universities and gives them some flexibility to work within their own regional context, but it also gives consistency for enterprise and for learners to see the similarities across different university provision. So micro-credentials are all short, small, focused courses. They range in level from undergraduate through to master's level, which is level 6 to 9 on Ireland's national framework of qualifications. Our credit sizes are between 1 and 30, so 1 credit is about 25 hours of learning, and this can include self-directed learning in addition to taught learning. Most of our courses are between 5 and 10 credits, as this is typically about 6 to 12 weeks in duration for the majority of our courses, but they do vary depending on the skills. All of our micro-credentials are university quality assured, so this gives you the reassurance they've gone through all the different processes for quality assurance at our universities. Our micro-credentials are standalone credentials, but some could stack towards larger awards, and this is something we're working on with our university partners at the moment for stacking within and across universities. That's coming in the near future. And all of our micro-credentials are developed in response to an identified skills need. So they're developed really for people who are currently in employment, who are looking to upskill or reskill. So there are many benefits to micro-credentials. And as I said, they are designed for people who are currently in employment. So they're very flexible and designed to fit around work and personal commitments. So there's lots of different delivery formats, but a big focus on online and hybrid delivery. Our micro-credentials can support boosting career progression, so they can help you within your current career role to look at skills that you might need in your current role, but also looking ahead to the future, so any skills you might need to take that next step. Because micro-credentials are quite short and focused, there's a great way for you to take different courses in different areas and really tailor your learning to suit your own career development goals. A lot of our micro-credentials are developed with industry, so they're a great way to stay ahead of emerging trends and to stay up to date with relevant advancements in your industry. And as I said, they're all accredited by our universities. So we have 7 university partners involved in microcreds. We have 3 based in Dublin, DCU, UCD and Trinity. And then we have Maynooth, University of Galway, University of Limerick and University College Cork. So we have a portfolio of micro-credentials. We have about 400 in total, and a significant amount of those are on our portal, microcreds.ie. They cover a range of different skill sets, from transversal skills that are beneficial and transferable across different roles and different industries. We have a lot of business-focused micro-credentials, some management, leadership, and other business areas as well, and also technical and creative skill sets as well. So our colleague Janice will give you an overview a bit later on about the work that they're doing at the University of Galway. But just to highlight that all of our university partners have micro-credentials in the green skills space. So I've just picked out a few here as some examples. So we have anything from Trinity College Dublin offering a 6-week online course in creating value with ESG, through to perhaps more focused courses such as climate change, law and policy at University College Dublin, which is a 12-week online course. And just before I hand over to my colleague Emma, I wanted to let you know about our platform, microcreds.ie. I strongly encourage you to take a look and find out more about the micro-credentials that we have available, some more about our university partners and about microcreds in general. So with that, I will hand over to you, Emma.
Thanks, Jules. Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks to Joanne for the opportunity to share with you our experiences of developing enterprise-informed micro-credentials. So we know from recent OECD and World Economic Forum reports that almost half of workers' core skills are expected to change over the next 5 years. And this really captures for us the scale of the challenge as higher education providers, and particularly for many of you on the call today as companies. So we know reskilling and upskilling are necessities coming out of a wide range of stimuli, such as digital transformation, how to harness the best out of emerging AI technologies, the challenges associated with decarbonisation. Many of us are still dealing with post-COVID impacts, the cost of living crisis, and really crucially, the competition for talent. So skills shortages and skills mismatches can really hinder and block companies from defining their growth strategy, being able to implement it, and to really empower employees to really use and engage with developments as they come down the line. So micro-credentials are emerging as a key solution to many of these issues, and they can be this really short, sharp, and flexible way for individuals to engage with lifelong learning. Next slide, please, Jules. As Jules has outlined, enterprise engagement is really embedded really across everything we do, across our core activities in microcreds. And this is really due to our funding coming from the National Training Fund. So it puts enterprise right at the heart of microcreds. We know from our research that we're well positioned to help facilitate more active collaboration between our universities and enterprise, and that in particular, we need to be able to more accurately identify enterprise needs and to help communicate those needs clearly to our universities. So we've established an enterprise advisory group, and this comprises membership from our national business representative bodies, enterprise agencies, including Enterprise Ireland, private sector companies and state bodies with responsibilities for skills. And this group functions to act as the representative voice of Irish enterprise to the university sector from microcreds, providing us insights and guidance across all of our activities. And one of the ways we engage with enterprise and micro-credentials is through a model we have developed called Microcreds Innovate. And this is a structured process where we bring the right decision-making individuals from businesses, organizations, learning and development departments, together with our leading academics, our leading researchers from our universities, focusing on priority skills needs in an identified field or sector. And these typically take place in an online 2-hour, highly facilitated and intensive format. So these events are focused on a particular topic and are entirely evidence and data informed. And what this means in reality is that in advance, we analyse and leverage many of the rich skills data and skills forecasting sources that are available to us. We also have inputs from our state architecture, on our government departments, our representative organisations, and obviously from enterprise themselves. So data is shared with our enterprise and academic participants in advance of our Microcreds Innovate event, and this really helps to guide and to stimulate potential collaborations and engagement. Next slide, please. This slide shows just an overview of our events to date. We've commenced with the pilot series last year, where we explored zero carbon, digital transformation, artificial intelligence, and a real focus on the SME sectors and their needs, so particularly on management and leadership and productivity. And this year we followed up with events targeting the needs of the biopharma chem sector and agri-food sector, with future events focusing on transversal skills and also the legal sector. Next slide, please. This slide shows just a snapshot of some of the insights we've gathered from our engagement with enterprise. And it's really interesting to note that many of the sector's needs really overlap. For engagement channels, we know enterprise are very keen to engage with our academics and our universities. However, there can be some uncertainty on how to do so. So we're actively working to address some of those challenges. On practicalities, enterprise very keen to know around the delivery mode of micro-credentials. So we know there's a strong preference for fully online, for example, but our micro-credentials are offered in a variety of different ways. Enterprise very interested in the duration. So how long will it take? What's the time commitment? Will it be in the day or in the evening? How can I fit it around my work and my commitments? And also pricing is obviously of keen interest to companies. The rationale for investment is frequently cited. We know that Microcreds needs to address clear enterprise needs. We know that stacking is very attractive to enterprise as well, and to learners. Clear, coherent stacking pathways that are ideally linked to competency frameworks are very favourably viewed. Microcreds.ie has been warmly welcomed, I think, by most people who've engaged with it as a really a one-stop shop for our micro-credentials in a very crowded market, with employer and learner-friendly language, clear information. And then finally, language. Enterprise is very clear that the language and the tone we use has to be, I think, perhaps non-academic, and it speaks clearly to what enterprise needs. So next slide, please. Thanks. So just from our analysis, we know there are many benefits for enterprise that are either engaging or considering engaging with micro-credentials, and this is particularly relevant for the SME sector. Their inherent flexibility supports the enterprise as a way to close down skills gaps, address the changes in the labour market in a much more agile and cost-effective way. And I think as well, we believe the work Microcreds has conducted so far has been hugely strengthened through harnessing many of the local and regional enterprise and university links. So that concludes my section on enterprise engagement. Thank you very much. We're happy to take any questions or comments at the end of the session. Thank you.
Okay, hi, I'm delighted to be with you here today. Can you see my screen there?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm really thrilled to have been invited to speak with you today from University of Galway. And as you know, we are based in the West by the sea. And just to say at the very outset, even though our courses are online, a lot of them, like Emma and Jules have spoken about already, you are most welcome to come on campus, our beautiful campus by the sea and by the Corrib, to visit our library or use our facilities for the period that you're a student with us. So even if you take a short course with us and you're doing it online, you are still most welcome to come and visit us by the sea. So this is our Microcreds project by the sea. And the two places that you can find out more about our micro-credentials are on these two websites. So the first is our University of Galway website, and we have a specific one for micro-credentials, but also the site, which has really been a fantastic addition for us that Jules mentioned, microcreds.ie. So you will find more or less the same micro-credentials from both sites in terms of University of Galway. We try and update them in tandem. So all our 7 universities taking part in this project have the same aim of walking the footsteps with enterprise. But what does that mean in terms of University of Galway? So what we mean there is that we are meeting with, we are listening to, and we're reading about all the time the upskilling needs that you have as enterprise and business leaders in Ireland. So we are really doing our very best to develop courses with and for you around the needs that are coming up, always with you in mind. So why study with us? And some of this has been mentioned already, but just to give you a quick overview, all our courses are bite-sized and flexible. So by flexible, we mean that a lot of the course material is online, so you can do it in your own time. And any lectures that you need to attend are usually at weekends or in the evening time to, I suppose, take into account the very real living situation that you have in terms of working and running your businesses, as well as busy lives, maybe with caring responsibilities. So trying to suit your learning around your living environment. They're also work-based, so we make sure that all our content has work-based work involved. So maybe your end of, instead of kind of sitting for an exam at the end, you might be asked to do a workplace project that will be of benefit to your business. And we try to make them as practical as possible for adult learners. So you will also benefit from the academic support and the knowledge that we have within the university. We have a very buoyant research element to our university, and we're constantly keeping up to date, and all our courses are of that standard if you come to take a course with us. And as I said at the beginning, I was giving you that welcome of using the library on campus, but you can also use all our resources online. And there's quite a lot of, even though you're taking a small course with us, there's a lot of resources available online from our library that you can use while you're a student with us from the comfort of your own home. So there's quite a lot of help in terms of academic writing and research skills. So you don't just get to do the learning on your course. You can also take other little micro learning pieces to upscale while you're taking your micro-credential, if you have the time, of course. And then I have these little footsteps, because this is something that we have found that once somebody gets the bug for learning in a university, they tend to never leave. So they come back and do larger courses with us or take other courses with us. Because what we're finding with our adult learners, many of them, and many of you might be in this position that you have never gone to third level institutions, and that maybe you're coming to a university for the first time. So a micro-credential is a good way of dipping your toe in and seeing if it is for you before maybe you decide to take maybe a larger course. So I'm not going to go through all these in great detail. You'll be delighted to hear, you're busy people. But just to give you a flavour of the different areas that University of Galway is focusing our efforts. I suppose we've quite a lot in the computer science, AI, digital competences, from all levels. So the digital competence course is like, from first basis, how to use Word, Excel, all the basics there, up to, more specific AI related modules. So you'll get to see those on our website. So the focus of today is about the green skills. So I'm going to go into those in a little bit more detail here, just fly through these. And this is my little golf reference. I don't play golf. I'm absolutely useless at sport. So, but I put these little flags here to show you that these are the ones that are now open for applications. Our closing date for these ones is November of this year, 2023, for starting in January. And then all of the other programs will be starting again in the new cycle of September next year. So you have a little bit of time to think about some of those. So very quickly, in the sustainable green space, these are kind of our key offerings. The responsible management and leadership has been hugely popular this year, and it'll run again next year. So that would be a good starting point for anybody that wanted to upskill in management skills and those transversal skills that were referred to, but also has a focus on sustainability and the SDG goals. So we have this one, then the second one coming after in January, the Sustainable Leadership and Experience Economy, which I will come on to in my later slides. But just I draw your attention to the last line of this, because these are ones that we're scoping out at the moment in early stage, and they've been identified within the construction sector, but they might apply to yourselves as well in some way. If you are interested in those ones at the very bottom, the anaerobic digestion, green hydrogen or wind energy, do get in touch, and we will have a chat with you about those. So these are our sustainability and green skills, just a tiny little bit more about those. This environmental management one, on all my screens, you'll see a little calendar there at the end. It'll show whether or not it's open for applications now in November, or whether or not you'll have to wait till next year if you want to take this course. So we have this one, which is very, very good for organizations around environmental planning and management and practice. And it is a very practice-based course, so you will get a lot of practical tools from that. This responsible management and leadership that I mentioned already, which does focus on the SDG goals, so that would be a good one too, maybe for yourselves. This sustainable leadership in the experience economy is specific to companies who develop memorable experiences for people, which is quite a buoyant part of Irish life at the moment, which I wasn't as familiar with, but this one is open for applications in January as well. Our energy management one, again, another very popular one, and with the cost of energy at the moment, this tends to be very popular, you know, with practical tools and advice, and also some technical information about how you might manage your energy costs within your organization. Green Labs Principles and Practice. So quite a lot of companies have labs as part of their work. So in the food industry, the med tech sector, the laboratories are popping up all over the place. So this is a really good course for helping to think about sustainability in terms of your labs and the equipment and the environmental footprint, I suppose, of your lab. We also have this course. We were hoping to run it this year, but it will be next year before it takes off. And again, we've been asked for this a lot, about how to measure and compare the environmental impacts of a product. So from start to finish, what is, you know, the life cycle of your product. So this is another one that will be coming in September. Beekeepers, this has been one of our most popular courses. This is our second year running it. Obviously for beekeepers, but it's a very science-based course, but it does help anybody that's in the food industry or harvesting honey to get a flavour of what's involved in beekeeping and the safety, and I suppose trying to make sure that our bees are healthy and safe and produce good quality honey for the food industry. So if you have your phone handy, you will see our little QR code there. And if you hold it up to that QR code, it will bring you directly into our flipbook, which has all the further detail about all our micro-credentials. And it might be something to have a look at later on. But also you can see we have a podcast with, I think we have about 9 podcasts in there now, which are interviews between me and the academics developing the courses. So if you're interested in a course, you know, that might give you a little bit of a flavour of the person delivering the course and what it's all about. And sometimes it's nice to hear the person that you might be working with on the course. And then, as Jules said, there's the microcreds.ie website, which is really handy for sharing with people so that you'll be able to find them all in the one place. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see some of you popping up on our applications in the near future.
Thanks so much, Janice, and thank you, Jules and Emma, as well, for that overview of the microcreds program. I have some questions for you at the end. Particularly interested in that sustainable experience and the experience economy. Microcred, you mentioned, just so interesting and unusual, but we can go into those when we get to the end. So now handing over to Michelle Thompson from Skillnet to talk more about Skillnet Ireland and specifically the Climate Ready Academy. Thanks.
Thanks, Joanne. Can you see my screen there okay?
Perfectly, yeah.
Great. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm delighted to be here today to provide an overview of how Skillnet Ireland supports Irish businesses with skills for the green economy. So a little bit about us. Skillnet Ireland is the workforce development agency of the Government of Ireland. As a national business support agency, we help business of all sizes identify and develop the talent they need to succeed. So we are enterprise and industry-led and government supported. A key focus of ours is around creating collaborations between academia, industry and government that foster economic and social development. So working with the likes of the IUA and Microcreds team has been really great. We have areas of strategic focus around accelerating digital, skills for climate action, which we'll talk more about today, leadership for the SME sector, which I presume there's lots on the call here now, talent for foreign direct investment, and all of this is underpinned by research and innovation. So as has been kind of alluded to earlier, the combination of macro trends and technology adoption is going to drive specific areas of job growth and decline. And the fastest growing roles are driven by technology, digitalization, and sustainability. This was according to the jobs report that was issued by the World Economic Forum earlier this year. And in that report, employers estimate that 44% of workers' skills will be disrupted in the next 5 years. So as Joanne mentioned at the start of the session, upskilling and reskilling is more important than ever, especially when embedding these sustainable business practices in business. So that job report also said that over half of these employers felt that access to training was not adequate. And hopefully, I don't think that is the case in Ireland. Janice gave some great examples there of what was available through the University of Galway alone. And I'll be able to share some examples of my colleague Maria as what we can do in the Skillnet ecosystem. So on the bottom right there, you'll see that the Skillnet Ireland cost sharing approach with employers, it really is the cornerstone of our model. And last year, as was also acknowledged, amidst a very challenging cost environment for employers, we actually saw record growth in industry co-financing. I think companies are actually recognizing the skills needs of their people and are willing to invest in them. Being enterprise-led for Skillnet Ireland means that we're able to provide training and skills provisions that add real value to business. And between our funding combined with company contributions, it means we can have a greater impact on workforce development. We operate through 70 Skillnet business networks that are effectively clusters, and they're made up of their member businesses, training providers, and experts in a particular sector or geographic region. So on the left-hand side, there is just a small sample of our sectoral Skillnet networks. We've approximately 50 of those, and each one is associated with a relevant industry body. And on the next slide here, you can see that we have 20 or so regional Skillnet networks, and each of those are associated with their local Chamber of Commerce. And this model ensures that we are connected and connecting companies at multiple levels to support businesses in either a specific region or sector. And this drives business success, but it also allows you, the employers, to cater for the individual needs of your employees and giving them that opportunity to attain those 21st century skills and build their career paths, which, as we said earlier, was really important for that talent attraction and development piece. So sustainability, it affects all sectors and all regions, and that is why many of our Skillnet business networks are responding to their members' needs and offering skills provisions in this space. And this slide just shows a very small sample of some of those courses across some of our Skillnet business networks. I think we can acknowledge that the scale and pace of change globally is such that Ireland's skills ecosystem has to take a big leap forward. And it requires a lot of players in this space to achieve that, and none more important than industry to tell us from the coalface what is needed. So a little call to action earlier in the piece to say, just, please do engage with your relevant Skillnet network. Go to skillnetireland.ie, and there's a tab that says find your network where you can search by sector or region and just reach out and engage. So in relation to kind of co-created programs, so arising from this national need and SkillNet Ireland's expanded mandate, we are placing a key emphasis on bringing industry and the tertiary sector together to design new programs and customize existing programs based on business need. So this slide just shows some examples of our sustainability focused SkillNet network. So we have our Lean and Green SkillNet and our Green Tech SkillNet, and they have been collaborating with several higher education institutions to co-create some amazing new programs in the sustainability space. And again, this is just a very, very, very small sample. And obviously hearing from the microcreds team earlier about the value of those short, sharp accredited learning. The SkillNet Climate Ready Academy partnership with the University of Limerick, and through that partnership they launched the first enterprise-led stackable micro-credential programs dedicated to climate action in Ireland, which was really fantastic. So there are 3 micro-credential qualifications designed to develop tailored sustainability charters and action plans for organizations in the areas of energy, sustainability, and waste and circularity. So a little bit more on SkillNet Ireland before I hand over to my colleague Maria. So as well as our business networks, we have also developed national talent initiatives that are countrywide and sector agnostic. So these are developed usually in response to government policy. Some examples here from right to left, we have our Innovation Exchange, which is all about connecting large businesses facing innovation challenges with ambitious SMEs that can fast track some solutions. We have Mentors Work, which is a 12-week business support program providing targeted supports for SMEs across Ireland to sustain and improve their business. And last, but certainly not least, what I already mentioned, the SkillNet Climate Ready Academy, which supports Irish businesses become climate ready. So I'll hand over to my colleague Maria Kelly, who is very much more the real expert in this space, but obviously around for questions at the end.
Thank you, Michelle. I'm just going to share my screen so you're not burdened with moving along. Is that showing now?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. I'm delighted to be here today. And as Michelle said, I'm going to talk to you about the SkillNet Climate Ready Academy. And more specifically, I'm going to introduce you to our flagship program, which is the Sustainability Leaders Program. I'm going to keep an eye on time to make sure we have time for questions at the end. Now, it's not moving on for some reason. Sorry, guys. There we go. Whatever happened there. So apologies for that. I keep an eye on time. We're looking good for time for questions at the end. So this is an overview of what I'm going to cover. But if we look at why businesses need to act now, and look, I know everybody on this call is very aware of the climate crisis that we face. But I loved this quote by Barack Obama. You know, climate scientists have been talking about this, the threat of climate change for over 50 years now, which is hard to believe. But we're actually the first generation to really feel the effect of climate change. I suppose it's really starting to become real over the last decade and definitely over the last 2 years. And the key is we're the last generation who can actually do something about it. We have to act now. We can't leave it up to the next generation. We keep hearing about this window of opportunity that's left to act, and that window is closing. But let's hold on to the fact that there's a window of opportunity. So we know the impact of climate change is evident. It's playing out on our screens every day. Our greenhouse gas emissions over the last decade, they've reached their highest point in human existence, and numerous reports have warned that there's a huge gap between the pledges countries are making to curb global warming to the really important 1.5 degrees centigrade and the actions they're taking to deliver it. So the world is definitely waking up to the climate emergency, but given where we're at and the trajectory we're on, we need to start waking up a bit faster. And businesses play a critical role in turning this around. And that's all of us on this call, and all businesses can help shape a better future. There is a very real and urgent need for all businesses to reduce their emissions, because the risks associated with not taking action far outweigh the risk and cost of taking action. Embracing the transition will give us a future that is more resilient, innovative, and prosperous, instead of one with increasing risks, market disruption, market failure, and even more natural disasters. This is an environment that businesses will really struggle to operate in, so we have no option but to act. But there will be new skills required for businesses to help them take action. The transition will require specific skills across all levels of the organization. All employees require skills and competencies to adapt to new ways of working. So it's not just specific green skills in a department in your organization. And upcoming regulatory changes are going to accelerate the transition. So the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, which we have in Europe, CSRD, which I'm sure you've heard of, will make sustainability disclosures for companies more comprehensive and comparable to one another, just like financial reporting. So by placing environmental, social, and government issues on the same playing field as financial reporting, businesses will now have to integrate sustainability and social responsibility into their core values, their business model, and their business strategies. CSRD and sustainability in the main will close the gap between traditional green roles and non-environmental roles by expanding disclosure requirements. Now, what that really means is that CSRD will touch every part of your organization. So every role in your organization will have to be a green role. So CSRD is a competency-based challenge for most companies. The demand for certain skills will increase, new occupations will emerge, and there will be a need to upskill and reskill all your employees so that they can increase their environmental competence. And as been said a number of times already today, skills shortages, and we're finding this, are already a constraint in the transition to a green economy. So just a few questions that I'd like you to consider, and it might just help you think about where your company is at the moment in terms of the transition to being more sustainable. Is there a culture of sustainability in your company? And is that being driven from the top? Do you know the environmental impact of your business? And probably an even more challenging question, which many businesses are going to have to start facing, is, do you know the environmental impact of your value chain? Are there systems and processes in place to measure and improve the sustainable impact of your business? Do you have specific plans to reduce your water usage, save energy, reduce waste, increase circularity, something we're going to keep hearing more about? Do you currently report on your actions and plans? And is there an understanding in your organization of the regulatory requirements that are about to come into force that I've just spoken about? Does your senior management team, are they aware of this, and do they understand their obligations under CSRD? And one thing to be aware of, CSRD may not directly impact your business, but are you in the value chain of a business that is directly impacted by CSRD? So there's going to be this massive trickle-down effect once CSRD comes into operation. And then obviously it's the senior management skills to manage the change required to transition the business and bring everybody with them. Now, and I could add probably another dozen questions, but hopefully that'll get you start thinking about where you are. So as Michelle said, in the SkillNet Climate Ready Academy, we support Irish businesses to become climate ready. It's all about growing green talent for the transition to a low carbon economy. And it's about developing the sustainability skills of the workforce and supporting businesses to build a culture of sustainability and advancing understanding of the climate crisis. Sharing industry insights and knowledge is a key part of it. Just to give you an idea of what's offered through the Academy, there's a 90-minute online sustainability pass program that you can take at any time. Really good introduction to the topic of sustainability, and it covers all the key areas that you can see now. And on completion, you'll receive a certificate of completion that you can share on your social media channels. Similar to this webinar series, there's Climate Ready Academy masterclasses. We've had about 14 to date. It's just an example of 2. But again, like this, it's about addressing a specific topic and bringing in some key industry leaders in that area to share knowledge. And then there's the mainstay of the Climate Ready Academy, which is our leaders programs. Now we've just added a 5th one, which should be up there on biodiversity. So we've specific topic programs on energy, waste and circular economy, transport and biodiversity, and then our overarching sustainability program, Sustainability Leaders. So just to tell you a little bit about that one, that's our flagship program in the SkillNet Climate Ready Academy. So embedded in the UN Sustainable Development Goals, it gives practical support and guidance to help companies develop a sustainability strategy and action plan. It'll give you the ability to critically evaluate the business risks and the strategic opportunities. Don't forget there's opportunities in all of this. In developing a sustainability strategy aligned to the SDGs that recognizes the need for balance between people, planet, and profit. It'll also give you the tools to improve relevant competencies, rewire your business, and develop the leadership skills to accelerate and lead the change required in your organization. So it consists of live mentoring and support workshops. And like I said, we use a lot of real world industry examples and peer-to-peer learning opportunities. So when you come out of the program, as I've mentioned, you develop a sustainability action plan. This is all about turning your ambition into real tangible action, so you can hit the ground running as soon as you finish. When you finish, you're awarded a micro-credential. You've heard a lot about those today, and this is the start of a pathway to a certificate in sustainable resource management accredited by the University of Limerick. And just to give you an example of the impact of these action plans. So the Sustainability Leaders Program has been around for 18 months now. Over 100 companies have completed the program, and we're now in the process of analysing the action plans, just so we can get a sense of what the drivers are, what actions companies are taking, and ways we can continue to improve the program, which is really important. But so far, we've counted over 700 sustainability actions that companies are committing to. So it's really important to us that this program has a real live impact on the ground. It's 12 weeks, 6 workshops, and at the end, in workshop 6, you will report out your action plan. Needs to be signed off by senior management in your organization if you're not already senior management. So you get to share your action plan with other people on the program and hear theirs. This is just an example of some of the feedback we've been getting. I'm not going to go through it all. I'm just looking at the time, but I'll pick out 2 of them. One participant said it gave them a new knowledge and understanding of the SDGs and how they can be used in sustainability strategy and action planning. Another one said it improved literacy in terms of the why, in alignment with the SDGs to help facilitate further collaboration between customers and stakeholders. And then really an appreciation of how much more they need to learn and in what areas, which is always a good thing. Finally, just so we're on top of how people are developing their knowledge, we do a pre and post program survey. So 1, which is red, is no awareness. 5, dark blue, full awareness. And we looked at their awareness of the Sustainable Development Goals after the programme, how to prioritise sustainability in their business, how to integrate it into their business, how to create an action plan, and then communicating and reporting of sustainable activities. And it's good to see the move from red and orange before the programme to blue and dark blue after the programme. So that's a whistle-stop tour of the Climate Ready Academy and the Sustainability Leaders programme. If you want to hear more about what Michelle spoke about on SkillNet Ireland, website is there. The Climate Ready Academy website is there. And we'll be offering the Sustainability Leadership Programme in 2024. So get in touch with your Enterprise Ireland Development Advisor if you'd like to find out more about that. Thank you for your time today, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you so much, Michelle and Maria, and everybody from IUA as well who presented. I'll ask everyone to pop their cameras back on, and I think we have a couple of questions coming through. So the first question that I've seen, it's a great one, is what are the most important skills for the green economy? I suppose I might have a shot at that in the first instance, like straight off the bat. And what I would think is leadership skills. Like nothing will get done regarding the transition if there isn't leadership in place. And that doesn't just mean from a kind of a government perspective, also from a company perspective, from a business and SME perspective, showing kind of a real drive and a commitment to sustainability and having the skills to be able to drive it forward is absolutely key. I also think some things have never changed, like skills relating to engineering and science backgrounds are always going to be part of the transition, and that extends to an understanding and familiarity with renewable energy technologies, low carbon technologies, infrastructure, construction. They're the building blocks really to get us through the transition. And then you're seeing, I think, some evolution of things that we would have always required. So environmental management may be evolving a bit more into ecosystem management. Green financing, we had a green financing webinar last week. That's becoming more and more important. And also the communication piece, it's absolutely key and goes hand in hand with the leadership. But anybody else, does anybody have any kind of, Alexa as well, our department manager for the Sustainability, Renewable Energy and Ag Tech team has joined. So yeah, if anybody else has any answers to that.
I think I'd agree with you completely, Joanne. I mean, there is no one, and just to say thank you to everybody for your contributions today. It's fantastic, and it just shows how we can always keep on learning about all of the different things that are available in this space. But I think, Joanne, you have hit the nail on the head. That the leadership that is needed to bring about this change in companies of all sizes and in all sectors, I think is the one common thing that we see across all of our clients, regardless of size and sector. There's obviously a lot of functional skills and technical skills that will be required as companies, look at their broader sustainability plan and in particular, I suppose, the climate element of that. But it starts, this is the mantra that we've been having in Enterprise Ireland over the past kind of year or so, is it all starts with a plan, and it all starts with somebody having the willingness to develop that plan. So I think that leadership piece is hugely important.
Yeah, could I add one or two things there? Joanna, you've covered all bases there, fair play. But I would also add the whole thing of data gathering and reporting skills, because they're going to be kind of really key for, you could be doing all the right things, but being able to gather your data around proving that you're doing the right things and then being able to report on them. So I would see those as kind of key skills. But also there's something about openness and curiosity. So, there's quite a lot out there. I suppose there's a lot of contentious kind of information out there in relation to the climate and, sustainability and all of that. So I'd ask people maybe to remain open and curious. to, you know, hearing all views and all sides of arguments, and then just trying to stick within, I suppose, learning about what Europe and the government are trying to do in this whole climate action plan. So I just add those bits.
I might just follow on there just very quickly. For those that are interested, the expert group on future skills needs released a really interesting and informed report last year on skills for zero carbon, and they've done a great work at outlining some of the core occupations and the core skill sets that are needed for the transition for the Irish economy over the coming years. So I encourage you all to have a look at that. It outlines some of the occupations around engineering, around, you know, the need for electric vehicle mechanics, other niche and emerging areas as well. So there's a real range of interesting data in that, and it also covers some of the more cross-cutting skill sets as well that Joanne alluded to, around communication, around health and safety skills as well, for example, is another one, problem-solving skills. So there's quite a lot of information out there, so I'd encourage all of you interested to have a look at that as well. Thanks.
That's great. I suppose a question directly for SkillNet. So in relation to CSRD, the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, and sustainability upskilling programs with SkillNet, can employees of academic institutes avail of these upskilling opportunities, especially personnel that are industry-facing roles? I'm not sure,
Yep,
Michelle.
I'll take that one.
If you want to come back.
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah, I'll take that one. So SkillNet
Yeah,
Ireland.
perfect, yeah.
SkillNet Ireland is funded by the Exchequer via the National Training Fund. So that's where employers actually pay into the Exchequer via their PRSI contributions. So this fund then gets distributed back to employers to contribute to skills development for workforce needs. So it's a very nice cyclical system, but it does mean that only private organisations paying PRSI in Ireland can qualify for these subsidised training programmes. So yeah, it's not usually for charities or state agencies. It's for the private organisations making those PRSI contributions. But we would welcome, you know, come and connect with your network and just check your eligibility with them.
That's great, thank you. I suppose I have a question for the group. I guess I'm I suppose conscious in a post-COVID world. So much training and development happens online now, and I'm just wondering if you have experience where, you know, for some courses and training programs, that kind of short, sharper courses, the online experience is you know, absolutely perfect for what's required, but for maybe some of the longer micro-credential courses, or for some of the SkillNet courses, is that kind of in-person piece still as essential for that kind of learning experience? I'm thinking of this from the peer-to-peer element of sitting beside somebody in a room, and also the kind of networking opportunity that you get with that if you're on a longer course. I'm just wondering what your view is on that, kind of, now that everything is so online focused and online learning has become such a huge part of this of training programs, professional training programs generally. Is there anything, are there benefits that you see for still having that in-person experience?
So Janice might want to jump in on this in terms of microcreds, but just from a kind of project level perspective, we do have a number of programs that are bespoke. So they're created for clients, and they're developed in-house and delivered in-house to particular clients. We also have some that are lab-based or have particular skill sets, which means that they are on campus. And we do have a number of kind of blended programs as well. So we do have courses that are delivered that aren't just 100% online. But Janice, you might have a bit more to add.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything that's gone before. I absolutely, as a learning development, that's my background. I absolutely 100% believe in peer-to-peer learning. I think we learn from each other. Just there's a synergy from being in the room with people. However, I suppose what we're going with is the market need and what we're being asked for. So with some of our topics, it's absolutely essential that people come on site for at least some of the micro-credential. But for others, you know, it's quite doable online, and there isn't probably the same need for that synergy between people, you know, like where people are learning specific skills on data analysis maybe, or, you know, technical skills. So I suppose my answer to you would be absolutely, I believe in the person and getting people together. We have found ways of doing that online through, you know, forums and breakout rooms, not quite the same thing. But we are open to discussing as the micro-credentials go on with the people who participate in them, whether or not they've been successful online, or would they prefer to be delivered in classrooms. So that's all open.
I loved as well, Janice, you said that, you know, anybody that goes through a microcred with UCG can still visit the campus.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
you still have access to the library, you can still get that kind of university experience on your own time potentially, and soak it up a bit, which is maybe what differentiates, you know, another differentiating point from other professional training programs to a micro-credential. You can go to UCG, you can see the campus, you can get a feel for it, and access the resources as well that a university has, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm conscious of time, we're kind of the end. But I just want to say a big thank you to everybody. I think we've a couple of slides left just to go through, just around the other webinars that we have coming up, and to just hit back on the Kickstarter workshops that I mentioned at the beginning of this as well. So the Kickstarter workshops are kicking off on the 27th of October. Like I said, they'll be running every 2 weeks, right up to the end of the year. They're half-day workshops to help SME business leaders understand the importance of sustainability and ESG to their business, and equip them with practical skills to incorporate these principles into their business plan. As I mentioned, there is a specific output that goes along with these workshops, which is a sustainability action plan that each participant will walk away with. So really trying to differentiate them from a kind of a less interactive, maybe webinar piece, but it's open to Enterprise Ireland client companies, local enterprise office companies, you know, always with sustainability. I think that there should be kind of a call to action when you're talking to somebody around sustainability, or you're engaging with sustainability. And so my call to action to everybody on this call today is to sign up to a Kickstarter. It's the next step, or it's the first step for anyone in an organization to get a kind of a really good grounding in sustainability and what it means to your company. I'm also just going to talk briefly through some of the other supports that we have. Not just Enterprise Ireland supports, but SEAI supports as well. So this slide shows you supports that are available from EI, and we've included supports from SEAI as well. For companies starting out in their journey, we recommend that you start with the Climate Toolkit for Business. This gives you an estimate of your organizational carbon footprint and gives you an initial action plan that you can work off of, as well as giving an overview of the funding landscape, because it can be hard for companies to know who to go to for what support, whether it be Enterprise Ireland, SEAI, or somebody else. For companies who haven't carried out an energy audit, or haven't recently carried out an energy audit, I suppose, and the SEAI Energy Audit Voucher is available for companies that have an energy spend of over €10,000 per annum. SEAI also have an online training academy that companies can access via their website. And then, as well as that, we have the Enterprise Ireland supports that are available. So we have a suite of supports available for SMEs, including a climate action voucher, which is an 1,800 grant to engage a consultant to develop sustainability, decarbonisation, or circular economy action plans. The Green Start support offers 7 days of consultancy support. It's 80% grant funding of up to €5,000 to help companies to introduce environmental best practice systems and structures, and to lay a foundation, I suppose, for future environmental improvement projects. We also have strategic consultancy, which is up to €35,000 to develop a long-term carbon reduction roadmap. And most relevant to this webinar is the Green Plus grant. So that is grant funding for up to 50% up to €50,000 of training costs to align with international standards and frameworks. We also have the Enterprise Emissions Reduction Investment Fund, which includes metering and tracking systems, as well as capital investment for decarbonisation processing or processes. And we support capital investment for research, development and innovation and decarbonisation as well. Enterprise Ireland has multiple existing supports around R&D, agile innovation, exploring innovation, innovation vouchers that can all be used for sustainability and decarbonisation projects. I guess that's kind of ish for us now, and that marks the end of the webinar. I'd just like to thank everybody so much again for taking part. All of our speakers, most especially Ankush Shirsat, who sits in the background and who's making all of this happen on a weekly basis. It's incredible the engagement we've had with this webinar series, and that is so much down to the work that Ankush does. I suppose as well, it's just to highlight that our final webinar in this series is coming up next week, and will be focused on the circular economy. Alexa, I'm not sure if you want to mention that briefly or to close out. I know you'll be doing it, but
I'm conscious of time, but yes, this is going to be the final one in this series of webinars. I think we probably will be looking at something again in the new year, but we're looking at the circular economy, the opportunities that can present for companies, and how they can kind of bring some of that circular thinking into their own businesses. But I would say all of the webinars are available online. We have recordings of them that are up online, so if you can't make it next week, you'll be absolutely able to join in. And just to add to Joanne's comments, and thanks so much to Joanne and Ankush, all of the speakers and everybody for attending. So thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.